11 years. It's a long time. Some would say too long. Hello everyone, welcome to the Q&A video for my 11-year anniversary here on YouTube. I figured that since it's been 11 years here on the platform, that I'd do something special for you all. Last year I did that huge montage video of pretty much all of my history. I didn't want to do a repeat of that this year, so I decided I hadn't done a Q&A in a long time. I don't even remember when the last one was. It was a long time ago. And may I just say, you all did not disappoint with your questions. I've been looking through them over the last few weeks or so, ever since I posted that announcement video asking for your questions, and wow, you guys came up with some pretty good ones. And as you can see here, I'm in my festive attire here with my summer robe. My big black one is very hot around this time of year, so I got my summer one on here. So, and of course the fake cigar. I think we'll go ahead and we'll ditch that. So without further ado, let's jump into your questions. Now, I need to go ahead and say this right now. I reserve the right to not answer any question that I feel is not appropriate, I suppose, or something I don't know a lot about. There's not a lot of questions out there I'm not willing to answer for you guys, but if you don't see your question answered here, just know I wasn't comfortable with answering it, which I think there's only like one or two here that I was kind of like, whoa, not answering that. So please don't get offended if I don't answer your question specifically. It's nothing against you. I couldn't think of an answer for it, or I didn't want to answer it. I've got the questions pulled up over here off screen on my laptop here, so let's go ahead and jump right into it here. This first batch is from Henry NWR 1911. I like the last four numbers of your name there, because that's a very popular pistol. He says, oh boy, this'll be interesting. Yes, it will. His first question is, besides Thomas, what other shows did you watch as a kid? I watched a lot of shows when I was a kid. Obviously Thomas was one of the main ones, but some other ones when I was really young, I enjoyed Kipper the Dog. That one is underrated in my opinion. I watched a lot of Bob the Builder. Shouldn't be surprised there. A lot of people my age grew up with that show. That's why us US dub fans think it's better, because we grew up with it. I'm sure there's a lot of UK dub fans of Bob out there that are like, sacrilege or whatever, but I prefer the US dub. What else did I watch? I watched some Rubber Dubbers. Anybody heard of that show? That was good. As I got older and transitioned into like 6, 7, or 8 years old, I watched a lot of SpongeBob, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, all the old Nickelodeon shows, all their old sitcoms. Like I was a fan of iCarly, Drake and Josh, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. That one is not really as well known as it should be. I watched a lot of stuff, but mostly Thomas. That was my show for a long time. But I was exposed to a whole bunch of other stuff. But like stuff like Blue's Clues or The Wiggles, that stuff never really caught on with me. I was more Kipper and Bob and Thomas. Those three were my jam. His next question is, do you ever plan on having kids? Hope and I have talked about this furiously, and yeah, we do plan on having kids one day. Not for a while, though. We haven't set a date for our wedding yet, but it's my understanding right now, this could have changed, but we probably won't have kids until a few years into our marriage. We want to be married and be together prior to us jumping in and having a child, because having a child changes everything. Not that I would know, but from hearing what my parents have said about when I came along, it totally shifts your dynamic in a marriage. My parents waited almost 8 or 9 years before I came along. They got married in 1992, and I came along in 99. So they had quite a long time there to be married prior to their first kid coming along. So that's always been my philosophy on the subject. I would prefer to I would prefer it just being me and my wife and our fur babies, as we call them. As far as how many, we haven't really come to a decision on that yet. I think we both agree on at least 2, because I wouldn't want my child to grow up alone. I would want them to have a set friend and a set family going forward, but I wouldn't mind more than that. Maybe 3. 3 seems like a lot, though, but at least 2. And yes, we do plan on having kids. Most nostalgic Thomas home media releases, like top 5 or so. Well, nostalgic for me, when you say home media release, the one that pops in my head is Thomas Comes to Breakfast. That one's the first one I ever had. It's the one I grew up with primarily, and it's the one that got eaten by the VCR prior to anyone else, because I was watching that constantly when I was a kid, and I was really upset when it got eaten up. Which is why, in my later years, I had to go on eBay and buy one for myself to correct this childhood atrocity. My top 5? I don't know. Another one that pops into my head is The Best of James. That one I never had on VHS as a child. I only had Best of Thomas and Best of Percy. I did eventually get The Best of James, but it was on DVD, and my grandparents had Best of James on VHS, so that's where I would primarily watch it. In fact, the copy that's currently in my collection, the Wooden Train bonus pack one, that one is, or was, my grandparents' copy, and they gave it to me, a decade ago maybe. I can just remember playing on my grandparents' old Brio wooden railway train table. They only had a couple Thomas items. They had an old-style Henry, a mic, and a couple of ox cars, and I would bring my engines over in my little Froggy backpack, which I also still have, and I would play with my engines on their Brio train table while the Best of James was playing in the background on this little itty-bitty TV that probably wasn't bigger than a postage stamp. That really hits the nostalgia bone for me right now. Yeah, I would say those 2 are probably my most nostalgic releases. Maybe I'll do like a top 5 video or something like that. That's a good idea, Henry. What keeps you going with making YouTube? Like, what's your passion? Mine is to meet friends in the fandom and to practice editing skills. You kind of hit the nail on the head with what keeps me going. I just enjoy it. I enjoy making the stuff that I want to make. There have been times where the passion definitely was not there, but I still cranked out my video count for the week. I think you can tell in some of those uploads. I think you can tell when the passion isn't there, and I hope that you guys never think I'm not passionate about this kind of stuff. I may get stuff out not on time every now and then, but I'm always there. I'm always working on stuff. I always want to get stuff done. I was just at a wedding this past weekend, and I was editing an HMR before the wedding. And then after I got back from the wedding, Hope went to bed, and I was editing that same HMR later on. So the passion's definitely always there with the stuff that I do. And yeah, meeting friends, that's definitely something that keeps me going. I enjoy getting to meet up with all my good pals. We've all grown up now, and we all have vehicles, so it's easier to go and meet up with each other. Quick side note here, I can remember back in like 2015 when me, Roman, Henry, and James were all in a Skype call together, and we'd be on for hours, especially during the summer. That was basically all we did, was talk to each other, and we would plan out fake meetups to see, like, hey, how long would it take for this person to reach this location, and how about if we met up here, and how long would it take for everyone to go there? And now that we're actually doing it, it almost doesn't feel real. Like, I've participated in close to, like, I don't know, 10 meetups now in my YouTube career, and it almost doesn't feel real. Like, it just, wow, it doesn't feel like we should be doing this. It feels like we should still be, 15, 16 years old, sitting on Skype talking about ideas for our next episodes. It doesn't feel real to me. And yeah, I like to practice my editing skills. Really, the only software I would say I'm proficient in is Camtasia Studio 8, and considering that's a software from 2014, it isn't used heavily anymore, especially not in like bigger YouTuber spaces. But I know how to cut a video together. But I'd say I agree mostly with your answers, Henry. Those two things are really what keep me going as well. But also the fact that people want to see what I put out there, and when I don't upload, people are disappointed. That keeps me going as well. That shocks me that people want to watch these dinky little videos that I make here online, that I try to make as professional as possible. But, you know, I don't always pull that off. When did you make your first friend on YouTube? That is a loaded question. The person that I'm thinking of right now, I'm not really friends with anymore. Hell, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about it. I mean, it's old drama from, 2014, 2015. Why people are probably like, why are you going to bring this up? But it's a Q&A video. Let's rip off this Band-Aid. My first real YouTube friend, per se, was a guy who now goes by the name of the Serious Thomas Collector. His name is Jake. I'm not sure if he's still around in the fandom, actually. He was exposed for some pretty not cool things, and I think he took a break from the platform. I don't remember the last time he uploaded. I don't remember the last time I checked his channel, really, but back in like 2014, 2015, we were each other's ride or die, basically. We would be on Skype together. If we weren't in a group call, we would be in a call with each other. I won't go into detail on why we aren't in that relationship anymore, why we aren't friends anymore, because most of it's not my story to tell, but that was, I'd say, around 2014, 2015. I had started actually talking with Johnny, Henry is Great 15, and LNER Flying Scotsman, Roberto, before I started talking to Jake. They introduced me to him, and then we sort of hit it off in a way with our friendship there. I think he's still around. He might be in a Discord server that I'm in, but we haven't spoken to each other in a long time because of the whole expose stuff that came out about him, and I hope he's doing okay. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day, like, why should I let old internet drama about stuff that isn't important to me anymore continue to hold me back? So you know what, Jake, if you're watching right now, I hope you're doing okay, man. Whatever you're pursuing in your life, I hope that you're successful in that, and I wish you nothing but good grace, man. I really sincerely hope you're doing all right. And then Henry NWR finishes off his comment with, I remember back in 2017, 2018, you were my everything. I loved your videos and wanted to be just like you. Now here I am making random Thomas content, watching your masterpieces, and hyped for the future revival seasons. I've been here for 7 years watching your content and will gladly go another 7 more. Well, Henry, I appreciate that a lot, man. But wanted to be just like me. That's not something you should strive to be. Not in 2017, 2018. I was like, oh, wow. That was when I was in my, hardcore political stage in life. And I was like, yeah, ride or die. Republicans, party and everything. Ride or die politics. That was all my Twitter was back then. And I was really into making silly... I was really into getting into silly arguments with people online. But... I appreciate that a lot, Henry. Sorry, I'm pulling up the next question here. I really appreciate that a lot, Henry. I'm so happy that you've enjoyed my content. That's always been my goal. If one person can get some enjoyment out of any content that I make, I've done my job as a YouTuber. And Henry, knowing that you enjoy my content that much, that you'll gladly watch me for another 7 years, that means a lot, man. Thank you. Thank you for your questions. All right, so now we have our next grouping here. This next group of questions come from Kim Huffstedler. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Her first question is, what would you consider the best movie ever made overall? Good Lord, Kim, this is a loaded question. If Hope were here right now, she'd probably say, you're going to say Endgame. You're going to say Avengers Endgame, because I talk about that movie way, way too much. It's one of my personal favorites, okay? Best movie made overall. I don't know if I can answer this one. This might be a cop-out answer here, but I don't think I can answer this. I don't know. It really depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for great story, great characters, great action, great drama, I don't think there's a perfect movie out there per se that hits all of those beats. There are plenty of movies out there that hit most of those beats, but one of them, more than likely, they fall flat on their face. I don't think we as humans have made the perfect piece of art yet, because we as humans are not perfect, and therefore we are not able to create perfect things. My opinions are there are a lot of perfect films out there to me, but I know deep in my mind that they're actually not perfect because they were made by human hands. But I would say probably my favorite film overall is still The Avengers from 2012. I just think that's the perfect blend of an ensemble cast that is both heartfelt, action-filled, witty, comedic. It hits every bar perfectly, and it always puts me in a good mood. But it's definitely not, the greatest film of all time, It's not the Citizen Kane of movies or anything, which I haven't seen Citizen Kane, so take my film goer card away from me, I suppose. But Kim, I don't know how to answer this one. I'm gonna say I don't think there has been a best movie that's ever been made that everyone thinks is perfect. I don't think it exists. Best comic book movie. Well, I kind of already answered this one, but I really enjoy The Avengers from 2012. But there's a whole plethora of comic films that you can get into. I mean, there's The Batman from 2022, which was amazing. There's, The Dark Knight from 2008, which people still sing its praises to this very day. And it deserves to be praised. There's the Infinity War and Endgame duology, which I will still say is one of my favorite film duologies and probably one of the best ones ever made. I mean, there's so much variety out there in comic book films. It's hard to nail down which one is the absolute best. Best video game movie. Okay, this one is easy. Tomb Raider 2018. Video game movies are the pits. They are probably some of the worst cinema you'll ever see in your entire life. And I know I just went on this huge rant about how there's so many great comic book films out there. It's hard to name the best one. But for video game films, there are a very minuscule amount of good video game movies out there. You got stuff like Need for Speed from 2014, which is kind of a guilty pleasure movie to me, but I like it a lot. Sonic the Hedgehog, that's a good one. People mostly like that one. But to me, Tomb Raider 2018 is the best one because it has the perfect blend of action, comedy, wit, pretty much everything that I enjoy in a movie. I like Alicia Vikander a lot in that lead role. The action is superb. The scene where she almost falls into the waterfall as she's running across this old rusty plane, absolute perfection. Love that. And it sucks that it didn't get a sequel because of how it did at the box office. It sucks that we won't see this version of Lara Croft come back. And if anything else, it's a hell of a lot better than that Tomb Raider film from 2001 starring Angelina Jolie. That thing is garbage. What is a TV series you think did not deserve to be canceled? I haven't seen this show, but from what I've heard, it was very good. And I think it ended on a cliffhanger, actually. Westworld was canceled by HBO, and it didn't deserve to be, from what I've heard. I didn't like the way Game of Thrones ended, which that really wasn't canceled. They tried to go out on their own way, but that last season is just the pits. It's the worst one of the entire franchise. I mean, they crapped the bed with that. I could also say something like Last Man Standing. That didn't deserve to be canceled, but then it got picked up by another network and brought it back, and it lasted like 4 more seasons. So, I'm really thinking hard about this one. I think my answer would probably be Game of Thrones because it really wasn't canceled, but the 2 showrunners that worked on it, Benioff and Weiss, they were going off to make a Star Wars movie, and they killed Game of Thrones to go work on that Star Wars movie. Then that Star Wars movie got canceled, so Game of Thrones died for nothing. What would you consider the best slash worst DVD or Blu-ray that you own? Worst in terms of quality, like in terms of film quality, or worst in terms of like picture quality, special features, that kind of thing? Because those are two separate things. I can name you off a couple that come to top of my head. As far as best Blu-rays go, this is kind of a cop-out because it's a 4K Blu-ray, but Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a demo quality 4K. That thing looks absolutely stupendous. As well as the Avengers from 2012. That 4K Blu-ray looks mind-blowing. I mean, I can count the number of fibers on Captain America's suit. Never thought I'd be able to do that. As far as worst, though, I used to own Escape Plan 2. I dumped that off years ago. Day After Tomorrow also comes to mind, but that has a Deadpool photobomb slipcover, so I can't really be too upset that I have that, because it's a fun slipcover. I want to keep that one. What's like the worst 4K transfer that I have? I don't have Terminator 2. I will never buy that 4K transfer, because that's just... blech. Nobody doesn't have a great 4K transfer. It's a little too grainy and dark for me. So that one... maybe go with that one in terms of worst. And then she ends off her statement with all the questions I can think of right now. Thank you, Kim, for leaving your questions. I enjoyed answering them, even though you made my brain hurt with the first one. Yo boy is Gage. That's an interesting username. Comes in with a question. He says, do you have a copy of Fox and the Hound, and if so, make a home media review of it? Well, Gage, I don't take requests for home media reviews, and I don't think I have the Fox and the Hound, either Blu-ray or DVD, so I will not be doing that anytime soon. But thank you for the question. All right, next set of questions come from J06 Films. He asks 10 questions here. What is your favorite Spider-Man movie? Spider-Man No Way Home. How could I not say that one? That one's absolutely my favorite. It's got everything in it. And no, it's not just cameo fodder. It actually uses those cameos to tell a compelling story and make Tom Holland a full-fledged Spider-Man. So that one's my favorite. What's your favorite Mountain Dew flavor? Back in the day, I used to say Voltage, but I kind of burned myself out on that one. I really like Code Red. That's a good flavor. I liked Spark for a while, but I kind of burned myself out on that one too. Purple Thunder, the one that's exclusive to Circle K, that one's really good. I'll drink that one all day. Regular is good. The community flavor is Baja Blast, and I can't lie, that one's pretty good too. When Pitch Black came back earlier in 2023, I grabbed a couple cases of that. That one was really good, but as of right now, the one that I would grab, if I had it in my hand right now, would probably be Purple Thunder. I really like that one. What is your favorite poster that you own? Well, I own quite a few posters. Not a lot of them are up right now, but I really like this poster right here. This Jedi Fallen Order poster that's currently up in my room right now. I really like this one. As well as this Iron Man 3 poster that I took down to put up the Jedi Fallen Order poster with. But Iron Man 3 is just so special to me. It's one of my most nostalgic films, I guess you could say. And I really like that poster. You know what? Iron Man 3. That poster is probably the best, my favorite one that I own. With the Jedi Fallen Order one coming in at a very close number 2. I should really put that Iron Man 3 poster back up. What is your favorite comic book film? Avengers from 2012. What are your thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and the Super Mario Brothers movie? I really liked Across the Spider-Verse. I don't think it's better than the first one. There's just something about origin stories for me that hit my sweet spot, so I liked Across the Spider-Verse a lot, and I'm so hyped up to see where it goes next year when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, but I didn't like it more than the original. Super Mario Brothers, that movie was great. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a crowd-pleasing film that has some story problems. There's not really a story there that you care about, per se. It's a fun popcorn film. I even bought these figures from Jack's Pacific, and they're up here in this room that I'm recording in right now, and these figures are great. I like them a lot. And I like the Mario movie a lot. Will it make my top 10 of the year? I don't know, maybe at like number 9 or something, but I didn't like it as much as everyone else did. Will you and Hope be watching the Barbie movie together? Yeah. Yeah, we will. It comes out the same week as Oppenheimer, so I'll probably have to see Barbie first before I get to see Oppenheimer. This is a random one. I know you do reviews on your Instagram and Facebook, but have you considered making a Letterboxd account? I do have a Letterboxd account. Here's the name of it. I don't post on it a lot. The last review I did on it, I think, was for Rambo. That's when I watched it. First Blood, not Rambo. I think that's when I was watching it for HMR. So I don't post on it a ton, but I do have one. So if you want to follow me, here it is right here. What are some of your favorite games that you and Hope play together? We play a lot of Fortnite. We play too much Fortnite, some might say. We also play a lot of Call of Duty together. We play Black Ops 2 and Modern Warfare 2 a lot together. Either on her Xbox at her house or the PlayStation 3 in her basement. But those are the two games that we love to play together. We love to play that. We'll also play Switch Sports every now and then. That's also fun. Sometimes she beats me in bowling. Sometimes I beat her in bowling. Most of the time she wins, though, and I'm sad to admit it. What is your favorite Game Boy game of all time? And he lists the 3 generations of the Game Boy. Gotta go Tetris. Tetris gets the most play out of any Game Boy game that I own. I love Tetris. What's your favorite action figure that you own? Oh, geez, another loaded one. I own too many action figures. Too many action figures. He lists Marvel Legends and the Black Series, which I'll give you a list of favorites from each of those lines. For Marvel Legends, I really like the Thanos figure from the first Infinity War film. That one's fun to mess around with. I've got him posed right now with my Iron Man Mark 50 figure, I think is what that is. His head's a little bit too small for me. It makes his shoulders look just a bit too broad, but that one's a good figure. One of my, I think, new favorite ones, actually, is a 2-pack with Peter Parker and Ned from Spider-Man Homecoming. It's just kind of nice to have regular in action figure form, and the sculpts on those are really good. The Black Series, I really like clones. You can see in this shot right now, clones are my bread and butter. Picking a favorite clone is like picking one of my children. I love clones. They're probably some of my favorites. But then for other figures, The Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader, that's got some great articulation to it. You can pose that thing in whatever way that you want, and it's amazing. I love that figure. This Darth Maul, too, from Season 7 of the Clone Wars, I haven't found a place for him yet. I want to build a display that's just him and Season 7 Ahsoka fighting, but that Darth Maul is also one of my favorites. I do have some figures from some other lines as well. I have some Terminator NECAs that I really like. And then this figure of 11 from Stranger Things, I think it's Bandai America. It feels like an SH Figuarts, but it's not. It's Bandai, and it's a cool figure too. The sculpt on the face could be a bit better, but I like its articulation. So that's the last one from J06 Films, so I appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for leaving your questions. These next couple come from a regular fan of mine. It's Captain Cool. Shout out to you, buddy. Usually if he's not in the live streams, he'll usually be in the comments of home media reviews and such. So let's jump into your questions here, Captain. Which YouTubers have inspired your channel? The one that comes to mind is John Flickinger from the FlickPick channel, and also his vlog channel, John Flickinger. If you watch some of my very early vlogs from back when I was first getting into vlogging, I'm doing a really bad impression of John throughout those entire vlogs. That's not me during those videos. That's a diet version of John Flickinger, and that's because I wanted to be like him when I was that age. John Flickinger is who I thought I would grow up to be when I was, in my late 20s, early 30s, and I'm 23 right now, almost 24. I'm nothing like him. Well, in some ways. He really inspired my vlog style, but when it comes to Thomas and Friends Home Media Reviews and that show, Nathan Butler was the one who inspired that show. He does a show called From the Star Wars Home Video Library, and that's where I got the inspiration to go, hey, this could work, but for a Thomas setting. Like, I got a lot of Thomas DVDs and stuff. I could do a show like this, and I did. Is there a way you can restore / re-upload all your Thomas and the Tragic Fail Road content? The short answer to that is no, but the long answer is coming up here very shortly. They don't have to be re-uploaded. They're still on my channel. They're all just privated. And that's because Tragic Fail Road is, for one thing, it's not very good. It's a 22-minute movie, per se, that features not great content. Not only from a filmmaking perspective, but just from the amount of language that all of us were using back in the day. It's not suitable for modern day YouTube, and it would definitely get me in trouble with the Thomas fandom at large. And if you know me and you know my history over on Twitter, the Thomas fandom doesn't like me very much, and they will do anything to get me kicked out of it. So in a preemptive measure, I have privated Tragic Failure Road and all the other content surrounding it. So will that ever come back up on YouTube? As long as I'm alive, it probably won't. I'm making it sound like it's something just horribly offensive. It's just the amount of just awful language we were using. It's really the amount of swear words that are in it that really was just like, maybe don't keep that up on the platform. So kind of makes me a hypocrite, I know, but I don't feel comfortable having that on my channel anymore. What are your most unpopular movie / Thomas and Friends opinions? I like Philip. I think he's cute. He's a fun character. That's probably my most hot take when it comes to Thomas and Friends. Oh, also, I don't think Season 7 is very good, and it shouldn't be considered a classic season. That's probably my biggest hot take that people just cannot understand. I get it, but also, I don't like Season 7. I've never liked it, and I probably never will. And it's probably because of the dubs. The dubs for it aren't very good. Tale of the Brave is not a good movie. Now they're all coming back to me now. Yeah, I don't like Tale of the Brave. I don't think it's a good movie. I talk about why I don't like it in my home media review for it. I can respect it for what it tried to do, but I don't care for it. As far as unpopular movie opinions go, is saying I don't like Avatar that unpopular? People have seemed to turn on Avatar in the later years. This one is unpopular to Hope because she loves this film, but I don't like the Lorax from... When did it come out? The Illumination Lorax, the 3D CGI one? I don't even remember when it came out. I don't like that movie a bit. I don't think it's good. I know The Expendables 2 isn't very popular, but that one I really enjoy. You guys know it's like my second favorite film. What's your favorite internet meme? They kind of rotate, but right now I'm enjoying a lot of the Burger King meme ads. You know, the song with the Whopper, 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 Whopper. My favorite one, I think right now is somebody made an AI voice clone of the guy singing, and it says, "Is this your IP address? You are not safe." It pops up with this random IP address on the screen. I like the Burger King memes, okay? We'll go with that one. That's Captain Cool's last question. So thank you, Captain, for posting your questions here. I appreciate it a lot, man. AK Plush says, do you have any other SpongeBob DVDs besides the movie? Yeah, if you watch a very old DVD and Blu-ray collection video from back in 2015, I think it was, I show a lot of my old SpongeBob DVDs that I still have. Most of them are in the basement right now because I don't need them up here, but I do have a lot of the single disc releases, and I own seasons 1 through 6 on DVD. So yes, I do have more than just the movie. All right, our next batch of questions comes from James is here, and he says, I have 3 questions. Is there any video that you've made that you wish you could redo because you hate it? Well, I could say my early years, but then I wouldn't be the YouTuber I am today, so I'm not going to say that. There's one portion of a video that I just can't stand. I can't believe I came up with this idea. I can't believe It was one of my collection videos. I can't remember which one. It might have been like a Blu-ray collection or something, but it was one of those. And I've been watching a lot of community members' content. Stuff like old Mr. MPS videos or old Turtles and Thomas. Ooh, I said his name. Videos that had a bunch of skits at the beginning. And I thought, hey, I could do that. That'd be fun. And I decided to make a skit video at the beginning of my collection video where I was talking to my Funko Pops. And I think it was old Han Solo was talking to me. And it wasn't good. There was no script. It was not funny. I hate that intro so much. And I wish I could go back in time and stop myself from doing it, because it's probably one of the worst pieces of content I've ever produced. Some people out there probably thought it was funny. I don't. It was not my best work. Have you ever wanted to outright delete a video? Kind of. It's the tragic failure thing. I addressed it earlier, but I think that's probably one video I'd like to just outright get rid of, because it's not permissible in today's society, and I'm not proud of it anymore. Some of my old Roblox stuff, that's why that whole series went down as well. That wasn't permissible in today's society, and that's why a lot of the episodes have been reworked and re-edited into Roblox Greatest Hits episodes. Some early What Our Skype Calls Are Like episodes, some of the ones that have been taken down, those weren't recorded in the best way possible. I used to not tell people I was recording on Skype, and people would get very upset with me that I published those conversations, and I get why. I don't do that now anymore. That was a kind of a scummy way to record conversations. Is there a video you've made that you think is basically perfect? Well, this goes back to my discussion about perfect films. I haven't made a perfect video. But I will say, one video that I think is extremely underrated is my update video from back when my first remastered season ended. The opening and closing of that video is a Lego skit that's supposed to be like an episode of The Big Bang Theory. It's me, Lemmy, Multi, and Ronnie, and we're all in the Lego set world with the Big Bang Theory set there. And I just thought the comedy was spot on. The filming was spot on. The laugh tracks was spot on. That portion of that video didn't get a lot of acclaim, and sure, I'll say that's perfect. I really like doing sitcom parodies, apparently, because I've done a Big Bang Theory, I've done a Seinfeld parody with my update video, teasing when content was coming back. I think I just like doing sitcom parodies. Maybe next time I'll do The Office or something. Then that's it for James is here. Thank you for your questions, James. Nice to always see you here. Galbraith, I think is how you say that. She says, why did you delete all of your Roblox episodes and some of your What Our Skype Calls Are Like? Well, I kind of already answered this one, because they're not permissible in today's society. Some of the things that were said in those old Roblox videos, while funny at the time, I'm sure, are not okay. There's some stuff we should not say. Some language was used, and that's why they're all gone now. I just went ahead and unlisted all the videos, or privated them, per se. You can't watch them anymore. And I figured that now, since a lot of those are gone now, I can re-edit them and put them out in a more sanitized version, I guess. It makes me sound like a hypocrite now that I'm saying this out loud, because I'm not for sanitizing the past and such, but it wasn't done for art purposes. It was done just to make videos. I view my Roblox videos as just fun little projects that aren't the same as somebody cutting out a racial slur in something like The French Connection. Like, my Roblox videos and The French Connection, two totally different things. Like, my Roblox videos are not art. They were just fun little videos that I made with some of my friends. And some of the language we used in there was not permissible in today's society, especially now with the Thomas fandom. So those are gone. Same with What Our Skype Calls Are Like. And to be honest, that whole show is not something I'm very proud of because of the whole, like, I used to not tell people when I was recording. That doesn't sit well with me. That's why one of the I can't remember, was it a special, I think, for what our Scout calls are like, where we talked about the Journey Beyond Sodor trailer. That whole movie just caused a whole riff in my friend group to begin with, but we did like a video where we talked about the trailer, and I didn't tell my friends I was recording, and that, I think, caused an unnecessary rift between me and some of my friends in that video. So that one, I think, is gone. If it's not, it will be gone by the time that this video goes up. It's not a good look for me, and I'm not proud of that. So yeah, that's the best explanation I can give you. Thank you, Shannon, for your question. Thomas and Friends and Dragon Tales Fan 2007, that's a long username, says, what is your favorite professional sports team? Well, if we're talking college, U of L. I live in Louisville, been a U of L fan my whole life. I'm not really into sports that much, but I will say that I'm a ride or die U of L fan. As far as like pro teams like NBA, NFL, that kind of thing, my parents are huge Steelers fans. They buy me Steelers merchandise. I have a Steelers shirt. I guess I have to say I'm a Steelers fan because of that. I don't really care about football or basketball or anything like that, but I will say, yeah, sure, Steelers. But U of L is probably my favorite. Our next set of questions come from Homeless Woman from the Other Side of Ohio. Very creative username there. She says, I need your opinions on the following people. First one, Elon Musk. This is probably going to get me in trouble with the Thomas fandom because I don't outright state, I hate Elon Musk, I think he's a billionaire and I don't like him. I don't really have an opinion on Musk as a person. I don't know him, but as far as what he's done with Twitter, done some good things, but also done some not so good things, if that makes any sense. The fact that he's gone out there and published the Twitter files through journalists like Matt Taibbi that exposed Twitter's practices during the 2020 election and during COVID and all that, we as the public have a right to see that knowledge and know what Twitter has been doing to censor certain people. And I'm glad that Musk came out and exposed that. It made some very influential people not very happy, but I don't like how he is prioritizing Twitter Blue subscribers over just normal people who just want to use the service. I don't like how he is making polls only available to Twitter Blue subscribers. I basically don't like Twitter Blue to begin with. I like that anyone can get a blue check now, so the whole concept of blue checks are meaningless, and it used to be that if you had a blue check, you were listened to over anyone else, and now anyone can pay for a blue check. I like that concept, but I don't think it's been implemented well. As far as Musk as a person, I think he's a bit promiscuous. You know, he has like 12 different kids with a bunch of women, and I don't personally agree with that. Elon is a very complicated person, but I do think he is very good at the memes. I'll leave it at that. Her next person that she needs my opinion on is Joe Biden. This one is definitely going to get me in trouble with the Thomas fandom because I know the majority of fandom members probably voted for this piece of shit. Reel myself back in here. I need to be composed, at least with my thoughts on Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. This guy is the worst president in my lifetime. And I know a lot of fandom members will scream, but Trump. The only reason that people think that Trump was a bad president is because they think he's either a racist, a sexist, he's all these other ists out there. And his last year of his presidency was kind of a huge dumpster fire. Which I agree. Yeah, it was. But the guy knew how to get stuff done. Look at your income under Donald Trump and then compare it to that under Joe Biden. How much extra spending money do you have under Joe Biden as opposed to Donald Trump? Because my own personal experience, I have less spending money under Joe Biden than I did Trump because of the rapid inflation rate and the fact that The cost of gas, the cost of living has gone up. The cost of literally everything has gone up because of this guy's drastic and insane policies. The man literally wants everyone in America to own an electric vehicle in like 5 years. When our electrical grid can't handle that. Just look at California and the rolling blackouts that have been going on out there. And the sad part is, I don't think it's primarily Joe Biden who's making these choices. I think it's his handlers. I think it's whoever is working behind him, because this guy is a decrepit old fool. He can't form a single sentence. He made this meme happen.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put
His brain is nothing but mush. He is on several blood transfusions every single day. They have to put him in a coffin at night. This guy is the worst president in my lifetime. And that's based solely on his choices that he has made in the Oval Office that have completely, almost ruined manufacturing in America. It's just, I cannot stand how this guy governs. I could also say I don't like him because he's a corrupt individual and China basically owns him, but then I would be called a conspiracy theorist, so I'm not going to say that. Her next person is Kim Jong-un. Dude's obviously an evil guy. I don't like how he subjects his people. He's a fat Jabba the Hutt looking ass person, and he almost doesn't seem like he's real. Like, it almost seems like North Korea is not a real place because of just how ass backwards its entire society is. Dear leader, more like dear my asshole. Her next person is Kim Kardashian. I don't really have an opinion on her. She's, meh, I guess. Ice Spice is her last person. I don't know who Ice Spice is. So, I'm sorry the last two there I didn't give you much of an answer to. Homeless woman from the other side of Ohio, but the first three I gave you some. Movie and Game Lover 98 comes at us with another set of questions. What Bob the Builder home media releases do you have? Quite a few. I have most of the Classics show. I have some of Project Build It. I can't really name them off the top of my head, but I do have quite a few. His next question, are you not excited for Toy Story 5, Frozen 3, or Zootopia 2? I just think that Disney is desperate at this point with the flop that Elemental is going to turn out to be, which sucks because that movie actually looks good. I think they're going back to the well. They know what makes money. Sequels to old content and live-action remakes. That's evidenced by the fact that The Little Mermaid is making money right now. So no, I'm not excited for Frozen 3 or Zootopia 2 or Toy Story 5 because it leaves the door open for the Toy Story franchise to end poorly. And I don't want it to end poorly. They almost bungled it with 4, but I thought that ending was pretty good. And if they go back and do 5, geez, what if it's bad? I mean, I know life will go on, we'll all be fine for the most part, but what if it's bad? What if Toy Story 5 ends up being bad? I can't even fathom that. Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy 3? I did. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So thank you, Movie and Game Lover 98, for your questions. Now we're going to jump into this next set of questions here. This video is going to be long. First, I apologize for that, guys, but I have a lot of questions to answer here, so I apologize for this being so long. Trey Stankos says, have you seen any princess movies? You mean like Disney princess stuff? Because, yeah, I've seen Beauty and the Beast. That's one of Hope's favorites, so I've seen that one. I've seen Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Snow White, basically all the classic ones. I still have yet to see Cinderella all the way through, and I think I saw Sleeping Beauty when I was really young. I don't remember a lot about it. But yeah, I've seen a lot of the Disney ones. Jordan Films says, which MCU movie got you hooked into the franchise? Kind of a two-parter here. It was Iron Man and Iron Man 3. I saw Iron Man on television when I was younger, and I was like, this is great. I love this. I want to see this. This is fun. And I saw Iron Man 3 in theaters and just blew my mind. I really liked Iron Man 3 a lot, and I think it's the second best of the Iron Man trilogy. Can you remember the first Mario game you played? First Mario game I ever played. Well, I didn't really get into video games until the Wii came out. But I think the first one I ever played was New Super Mario Brothers on the DS. I think that was it was either that or Mario Party on the DS. I played a lot of Mario Party on the DS when I was younger. I used to have sleepovers with a couple of my friends, and we would be in my one friend's basement, and we would either play Mario Kart or Mario Party until like 6 in the morning. It's weird that one of those friends that I used to hang out with a lot is now married. Just got married this last weekend. It's crazy. Time flies. The passage of time is crazy. But shoot, yeah, it was probably either like Mario Party or Mario Kart. Totally forgot about Mario Kart there, but it was either one of those three. If the Mario movie spawns a second movie in the future, are you going to watch it? Especially after the writer's strike. Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I don't know if the writer's strike will necessarily affect it because they haven't started work on Mario Movie 2 yet. I don't think so, at least. Plus, how could you make a movie that's completely written by, like, Chris Pratt or something? Someone who's not an actual writer. I don't see Universal going for that. What is your favorite video that the Unlucky Tug has uploaded? Well, the Unlucky Tug, I would probably say, is the most popular figure in the fandom right now. That's interesting. The most popular figure in the fandom, what's my favorite video of his? I really liked his Cars breakdown because I agree with a lot of his opinions, and Cars gets shit on way too much by casual Pixar fans. That franchise is good. Well, 1 and 3 are good. 2 is, it's a guilty pleasure for me, but 1 and 3 are fantastic. So I agree with him a lot in that video. So that's probably one of my favorites. I've really been liking the Thomas retrospective. That was a really good video series that he's come up with. I look forward to every new installment with that series. One I go back to a lot, though, as opposed to the Cars video or the Thomas retrospective, is his history videos. History of Appleton Hall, or history of the Flying Scotsman's tour of the United States. I really like those videos. I wish he'd do more like that. He has a really good voice and a really good look for that kind of thing. Opinions on other Thomas toy lines other than Wooden Railway. Examples: Tomy, Trackmaster, Ertl, Take Along, Bandai, etc. Well, I've already had kind of a hot take earlier on in my channel's history with my one Ertl review that I've done, which was on Ertl Douglas. But I don't like Ertl very much. I think Take Along is better. Ertl just, you can't play with those things very good. It just, I like Take Along more. Tomy and Trackmaster I was never really into. I had a Tomy Thomas when I was younger, and I bought a Trackmaster Edward when I was younger too. Those are long gone now. I don't remember what happened to those, but I had a Tomy Thomas, Annie and Clarabelle set that I really liked, that I would play with a lot. But I never really got into the Trackmaster side of things. With Bandai, I think the only Bandai model I have is an Oliver. It was like a Bandai Departing Now or something, Oliver. I don't really know what range it's from. Sean sent it to me. So when I'm talking about the one with the big magnets on the front, I think it's Bandai. I don't really have an opinion on that. I've seen the Bandai James, I think it is. I think Train King James has that. I think he brought it to the meetup in 2021. So I've seen that, and it's cool. So thank you, Trey and Jordan Films, for your questions. We have Topher here. Tophmaster. What's up, Topher? Good to see you here. Glad that you left me some questions to answer here. Let's jump into it. His first question is, whenever Thomas & Friends Home Media Reviews comes back, I'm curious. When you cover releases like Peep Peep Hooray, 3 Cheers for Thomas, On Track for Adventure, and All Aboard with the Steam Team, are those getting their own home media reviews, or are they going to be supplementals? The reason I ask is because all of those releases are the UK versions of Thomas's Soda Celebration, Milkshake Muddle, and Steamies versus Diesels. And also how many new HMRs are coming in the new revival season of Thomas Home Media Reviews, wondering about that too. Well, that was quite a long question there, Topher, but the quick answer is they'll get their own video. And the reason I say that is because I've already done a home media review for the UK version of Come Ride the Rails. I can't remember what it was called, but that got its own video, so by that logic, 3 cheers for Thomas, on track for adventure, and all aboard at the Steam team. They'll get their own videos too. As far as how many new episodes will be in this new season, I can't spoil that. Why would I do that? I never tell you how many new episodes are coming. It's just, you'll have to find out when the season airs. Would you ever do a Let's Play on a Mario game? Kind of already have. I did one on Mario Kart 64, but if you mean like a straight up Mario game, yeah, probably. I would like to. When you were a kid, how often did you watch Thomas when it aired on TV, whether that was Sprout or PBS? You know, I never really watched Thomas on TV. A lot of people grew up with Thomas on PBS or Sprout or stuff like that. I never watched it on PBS or Sprout. I really only found out it was on PBS and Sprout when I was in my early teens. The first time I ever saw Thomas on Sprout, actually, was at my aunt and uncle's house back when they lived in Ohio. And it was the episode Fish. And I was like, what? This exists on television? I thought it was just this weird show I had on DVDs. That was the only way I could watch Thomas, was on physical media, on VHS tapes, and stuff like that. So I never watched it on those services. I never watched it on actual television. What was both your best movie theater experience and worst movie theater experience you have ever had? Well, I have a couple answers for both of these. As far as best goes, Star Trek Beyond was definitely one of the best movie theater experiences I've ever had, because I was the only one in the theater. I basically had a private screening of Star Trek Beyond. I saw it at this very small local movie theater that's about 20 minutes out from where I live, and it was in a town that not a lot of people lived at. I was the only one in the movie theater. I watched Star Trek Beyond all by myself. This huge screen, I got the perfect choice of seat. I could be on my phone if I wanted to, but I just drank in that movie by myself. It was amazing. The other two best experiences I've had have been for both Infinity War and Endgame. The audiences for both of those films, they were into it, they were jazzed, they were ready to watch these movies, they were quiet when they needed to be, they cheered at the appropriate moments. When Thor, Rocket, and Groot land in Wakanda and the Avengers theme starts kicking, we all stood up and applauded. That scene got a standing ovation in the movie theater. It was amazing. And in Endgame, when Cap grabs Thor's hammer, again, standing ovation. Wonderful movie theater experiences. If I could go back in time and relive all three of those, I would. Now, as far as worst, I can think of 3, actually. I think I said 3 for the first one. I'll say 3 for this one. The first one was actually during Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I saw that movie by myself at the same theater where I saw Star Trek Beyond. And it wasn't a packed house, but there were a few kids in the audience. And not like, 6, 7. I'm talking like 4 and 5. Like really young kids that probably shouldn't have been in the movie theater. I kid you not. While the climax of Into the Spider-Verse was happening, there were at least 3 or 4 kids running around the aisles playing tag. And the parents were doing nothing to stop it. They were just running around, playing tag, saying, I'm it, you're it, I'm it, you're it. While I'm trying to watch Kingpin kick the shit out of Miles Morales, these fucking kids are playing tag. The next worst experience happened a few years ago. Hope and I had been together for about a year at this point. We saw Die Hard in the theater because it was coming back. It was COVID time, and the movies were just starting to come back, and they were playing older movies, so we saw Die Hard. And this group of teenagers, about 10 of them, came into the theater, and they sat in the rows, about 3 or 4 rows behind us, and they would not shut up throughout the entire movie. They talked constantly throughout the entire thing. And it was just me, Hope, and them in the movie theater, and they would not shut up. I already could tell that this was not going to be good because they were coming into the movie theater rowdy and just acting like teenagers do. So I thought, this is not going to be good. And it wasn't. They actually pissed Hope off so much that she went and got security, and a security guard walked in, and while he was in the movie theater, they shut up because they didn't want to get kicked out. So the guard couldn't do anything per se because he had to see them talk and see them be disrupted before he could do anything. So when he left, they started fucking talking again. It was hilarious because after we left, they were all crowded around somebody's car, and Hope goes, roll down your window and get ready to speed off. So as I am driving past this group of teenagers, Hope rolls down my window and yells, assholes! And then I speed away as fast as humanly possible. That one actually didn't end up being a worst one because of how Hope reacted to it. That was hilarious. I wish I would have got that on video. The other worst experience is actually one that's going to be detailed in an upcoming vlog for Creed 3. And it was what I was doing while I was dead, part 3. That one's coming out here pretty soon because I just posted part 2 a few weeks ago. We saw Creed 3 at what I would call the ghetto theater in my town. It's where a lot of teenagers go to see movies, and it was discount day. And it's not in the best place. It's not in the best part of town. So when we get there, our theater is packed, and somebody is sitting in our seats. So I go up and I say, excuse me, you're sitting in our seats. This girl, who could not have been more than 17 years old, says to me, oh, there are seats down there. So Hope goes, no. You're in our seats. You're going to move because we paid for these seats. We're not going and sitting in someone else's seats. You're going to move. And this girl gets an attitude with Hope and says to her boyfriend, I don't want to sit next to her. So Hope calls her childish and all this other things. And it, luckily for us, it didn't escalate past that, but that was really one of the worst ones because of just how disrespectful people can be. Like, you're sitting in my seat. I'm showing you the receipt right here on my phone. Like, I paid for the seat. I tried to ask you nicely. Get out. How many times a year do you go to the movie theater? I try to see every big film that comes out every year just because I like to review them on my Instagram page and such. So probably like, I don't know, 40, 50 times a year at most. I'd say probably 50 is the most I've gone. In 2020, you let us pick a film to cover on Home Media Reviews. Will you ever plan on doing that again? Yeah, eventually. I don't have any plans for it in the very near future, but yeah, eventually I'd say I would let you guys pick another movie. Okay, that wraps things up for Topher. I want to thank you so very much, Topher, for sending in those questions. Hope you enjoyed my answers. Chris Channel says, oh boy, this will be fun. What's your gamer score? Mine is 156,088. I don't know what my gamer score is. Whatever this says. Have you seen any of the Fred Astaire or Gene Kelly musicals? I have not. I've heard of Fred Astaire. I've not heard of Gene Kelly. Have you seen Fetch with Ruff Ruffman and or any of its sequels? I watched a few episodes of that when I was younger. I haven't seen any of the sequels, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. What is your favorite Don Bluth film? Mine is An American Tail. I don't know if I've seen anything by Don Bluth. Hang on. We're going to do a quick little thing here. Don Bluth. I know he was an animator for Disney. I don't know he directed anything though. Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, An American Tail. He directed Land Before Time? All Dogs Go to Heaven, Thumbelina, Anastasia. Directed a lot of animated stuff. I have not seen any of his directed films, actually, so that kind of stinks. I don't have one, I guess. What's your favorite So Bad It's Good movie? Oh, man. I favorite So Bad It's Good movie. There's so many good answers for this. Maybe something like, I don't know, Commando or Red Heat, maybe. Although I like Red Heat, so I don't know, maybe Commando. Commando's hilarious to me. It's this big Arnold bodybuilder type person that's just going around killing people. I really like Commando. But then again, is that one really classified as So Bad It's Good? It's got to be like a comedy or something. Something that I just cannot stop laughing at. Probably like, I don't know, Talladega Nights or something. That movie is absurd, but I love it. All right, thank you for your questions, Chris. That wraps things up for him. Let's move right along to Thomas YouTuber Fan 202. He says, have you seen Tugs? If so, what are your thoughts? Yeah, I like Tugs. I thought it was fine. I've seen the whole series. I haven't watched it, though, in years, but yeah, I like Tugs. What Thomas life lesson inspired you the most as a kid and still sticks with you even as an adult? I would have to say don't take crap from anyone. There's a lot of characters in Thomas that tell it like it is, and don't let anyone put them down. And that's my entire philosophy on life. You deserve the same amount of respect as the next guy who's standing next to you. And if you're not getting that, you should be getting it, and you should address it. So that's probably my favorite life lesson from Thomas. I know that you are archiving Bob the Builder episodes and DVDs, and the same with Thomas DVDs for you and Hope's future children. You're going to pass along your TWR collection to them. That is something that I have been thinking about. I wouldn't say like, oh, I don't want my kids to mess with my collections and stuff, but I'd like for them to play with it, let them get as much joy out of it as possible like I did. So that's definitely something I'll have to think about more in the future, because those things are so special to me. I wouldn't want them to get destroyed or anything, but it's not like my kids would do that. If you could have any piece of Thomas merch or memorabilia that you don't have already, what would it be? The Trackmaster, or I guess Tommy Oliver. I remember years ago I had a goal to collect an Oliver from every single merchandise line in Thomas, and Oliver is my favorite character. So probably either the Tommy Oliver or the Hornby Oliver. I have the Bachman one. It's really nice. So one of those two. His last question is, are you considering Patreon for yourself? No, I'm not. Patreon to me would just add more work onto my schedule, and I don't think I don't even have enough perks in my mind to start a Patreon. So no, I don't think so. J Game Guy says, what's one movie or TV series you wish you could experience again for the first time? I would probably have to say Seinfeld. Seinfeld to me is just the perfect television sitcom, and I discovered it when I was very young. Too young to watch it, even. I didn't know half the stuff they were talking about. Seinfeld was actually where I learned the word lesbian. So, as far as movie goes, I would say maybe something like Spider-Man No Way Home, because I really had no idea that the three Spider-Men were going to be in it together. That'd be fun to see again for the first time. Or something like Infinity War, even. Seeing that cliffhanger for the first time. Sitting there bewildered in the movie theater like, that's it? That's it? That's really it. Like, we're not going to get a conclusion until next year. Like, I'd love to see that again. What's the most you've ever spent on a video game or home media product? Ooh. The most I've ever spent on a video game. Well, I bought some games brand new, so I guess it'd be like $50 or $60. But as far as used video games go, I paid a lot for Metroid Prime. I think I paid like $40 for that. That's without the manual too, so I paid a lot for that. Home media product? I like to say I found a lot of good deals on my home media products. There might be some that I may have splurged on a little bit. Can't really think of one that I spent like an exuberant amount of money for. I like to think that I'd find some good deals on my home media products. I like to look at, Goodwills and stuff like that for cheaper stuff. So I can't really say. My first instinct would probably be like my Dark Knight box set, but I got that for really cheap online. And it was brand new sealed. So I could proudly say though I've never spent like $60 on one Blu-ray. or something. That to me is absurd, but I've never done that. Moving on now to Harrison Allen. There's another regular there. We got Jay and Harrison here. So he says, what made you want to start YouTube all those years ago? It was Lego YouTubers that made me want to start. Stuff like The Brick Show, Brick Queen, Jang Bricks, that kind of thing. I watched a lot of Lego YouTube channels when I was younger. And I had watched, YouTube channels like Thomas Wooden Railway, Wooden Railway Reviews, all the old guys from back when. I watched them when I was a kid. And that's what made me want to start, was both the Lego YouTubers. That's where the name Lego Lover 117 comes from. And after I did Lego for a few months, I said, screw it, I'm done. And then I entered into Thomas Wooden Railway's contest, along with Jay Louvier and Wooden Railway Reviews, because I had been watching their stuff. I was like, I have these old Wooden Railway trains in the basement. I'll make a video about it. Here we are today. After the US dub of Tugs got leaked a while back, would you consider yourself to be a casual Tugs fan, or do you believe it's kind of its own thing in Thomas continuity? I don't really understand this question very much. I think what Harrison's trying to say is, do I consider myself a casual Tugs fan? Yeah, kind of. And do I think it's its own thing? Yeah, I don't think Tugs and Thomas exist in the same universe. I feel that would cause too many headaches for the creators. He's got a lot of examples here for first memories. So we got first memories of Star Wars, Marvel, Nickelodeon, Mario, Sonic, and DC. First memories of Marvel was Spider-Man when I was a kid. I had this weird phobia when I was really young. I didn't like anyone in a mask. So I didn't like Spider-Man, Batman. I didn't like Larry Boy. What was wrong with me? But my earliest memories were getting these Spider-Man web shooter things. I think they might have been for like Spider-Man 3. Because I had some Spider-Man 3 toys growing up. I had a Spider-Man figure and I had a Sandman figure that I played with. But I remember getting these like Spider-Man web shooters that never actually worked right. But it came with the gloves and it came with a mask. So I'd say those are my first memories of Marvel. My first memories of Star Wars would be watching the original Star Wars on my television in this house. Actually, is where I saw Star Wars for the first time. We went to Blockbuster and we rented the first Star Wars because my mom was astounded that I'd never seen it, and we watched it together as a family. And then we watched the other two as a family the nights after that. So that was my first memory of Star Wars. First memory of Nickelodeon would probably be Nick Jr. I watched Nick Jr. a lot when I was a kid. I watched like Blue's Clues and Oswald and that kind of thing. So that would probably be my first Nickelodeon memory. Where are my Max and Ruby fans out there? Mario, I think this coincides with the question earlier about what was my first Mario game. My first memories of Mario were on the DS. Mario Kart, DS, and Mario Party and that kind of thing. Sonic I was never really into when I was a kid. I was just never really exposed to it, so I don't really have a lot of early memories of Sonic. And as DC goes, I think maybe like a Batman action figure or something in the toy aisle. I was never really a DC fan when I was a kid either. I didn't really get into comic books until my early teens. How did you and Hope first meet each other? Well, we met on a dating app known as Bumble. I've been on Bumble for a month at that point at the behest of my mom. Because I was just kind of lonely. I hadn't gotten out of a relationship at that point. I'd been in one prior to that, and I was like, not really my thing. I had been on Bumble for about a month at that point when she popped up, and I was like, hey, she looks cute. Swipe right. And the gimmick about Bumble is the girl has to make the first move. She has to talk first. So I was like, maybe this will lead to something. And I was at the pool with a friend of mine. And I get back to check my phone, and I see I have a message from this girl named Hope on Bumble, and she just said, hey, exclamation point. So me being the romantic stud that I am, I replied with, hey, exclamation point. And I think we had a conversation about drive-thrus, because I was getting food at a drive-thru. So after that. So that's how we met. And then we had our first date at the movie theater by her house. We saw Angel Has Fallen together. And the rest is history. It was actually surprising because she went to a high school where a lot of my friends from church actually went. So when I first like started posting her on my Snap story, a few friends of mine were like, "How do you know Hope?" I'm like, we're dating. That's it for Harrison's questions. So now we're moving along to Useful Engine 11. He says, "Here are my questions. What's your favorite Thomas fan series?" I don't really have one. I don't watch a lot of Thomas fan series anymore. There's so many of them out there. But the cliche answer back a few years ago would probably be like Sudrian Conflict or something. What was your favorite meetup you've been to? The Entertainment Extravaganza. That's my favorite meetup by far. That was a great 2 days. I was up there in Ohio with some of my best friends, and the show went off without a hitch, except for I did forget one of my power cables for my computer that I brought, but the entertainment guys, they saved me, and anybody who came, you got to play some old Thomas PC games, and that was a fantastic time. Sleeping on an air mattress that started off the night inflated, and then when I woke up the next morning was deflated. Best time of my life. Favorite character in the Railway series, Classic series, and CGI eras. Oh boy. Favorite character in the Railway series. I haven't read all the Railway series, but my favorite character, obviously, in all of Thomas is Oliver. So I'm going to have to say that. I really like Samson, though, in the CGI era. He was a cool character until they totally botched him. Oh, what's his name? Sir Robert Norramby? He was a good character, too. If you had to choose between Thomas and Hope, what would you choose? P.S. I threw that one in for fun. Well, I'd have to choose Hope, obviously, because where would I be without her? I would be sad and lonely. So I'm going to pick her. Anchor the DVD guy says, "You play chess 101v1? LOL. I play Mario chess with Hope, and I always lose. So I'm not great. So you'd probably win." Duck Fan GWR8, or Dan, says, "What spawned your love for Thomas and Friends in general, as well as the home media side of things?" Well, I saw Thomas when I was a very young kid, and it just instantly appealed to me. I loved pretty much everything about it. So I would say the fact that I had grown up with it my entire life. I loved Thomas. And the home media side of things, I'd always really been into collecting VHS tapes and DVDs. I have a collector personality. I get it from my dad. I just always want to have as much of something that I can get my hands on. So that's always been my personality. Would you ever consider doing an updated room tour before you move out, whenever that is? That's actually my plan, Dan, is whenever I finally move out of my parents' house and Hope and I get our own place and start our lives together, I am going to do a updated room/studio tour as kind of like a farewell type thing. Like, here's my room, here's what it's been like, and now I'm gone. So, yeah, that's actually my plan. Good on you for noticing that. How much longer could you see yourself doing this? Would you be doing this with your potential future children? Good question there, Dan. I don't know how much longer I see myself doing this. I really haven't had a desire to stop my entire YouTube career. I mean, there have been times I've wanted to take a break, but I've always wanted to come back. I really can't see my life not having YouTube in it. I don't know how much longer I would want to do like home media reviews or something. Like, the number I've always told myself is 10 seasons. Like, I want to do 10 seasons of home media reviews. If I get to 10 seasons, I've accomplished what I want to accomplish, and I don't need to do any more than that. But who knows? It could be 11 seasons, it could be 12. And then vlogs, obviously, I love doing vlogs, so I could do those until I die. And I probably could see myself, like, bringing on my kids at some point in time. I don't know, though. It's weird talking about kids that don't exist yet, but yeah, I could see myself doing that. But, you know, the uploads will probably get more infrequent, but I don't see myself ever, like, truly stopping this. Like, maybe I'll dwindle down to one video a month, maybe, but I could never truly see myself stopping this. Dan goes on to say, "It's been a great 6 years I've been around the channel, and I've loved everything about it. So fun and so whimsical. I cannot wait for that new season of Thomas and Friends home media reviews." Well, You supplied the content for it, my man. You supplied stuff that's going to be covered in it. So thank you, Dan, for your kind words and your just your encouragement, man. Sodor Pro, another regular around here, says, if you could live on Sodor, where would you reside? Like Vickerstown, Knapford, Olfstead, Arsdale. I'd want to live by the beach. So probably somewhere like, I don't know, like, what's the fishing village? Arlsberg? Yeah, I'd live there. I'd live by the beach. What got you into Marvel? You know, honestly, it was Now Playing podcast. I had been poking around the internet just to find stuff to listen to while I was playing Xbox, actually. And I stumbled upon Now Playing podcast. And I was like, hey, this podcast seems cool. And I listened to a couple of their Marvel shows. And I was like, this Marvel stuff sounds like fun. Maybe I could give that a watch. And I watched Iron Man. And boom, still a fan of Now Playing now. And still a fan of Marvel. This next group of questions comes from a guy named Matthew. His first 2 questions I've already answered in the video, so we'll move on to his third question here. If you could do anything with no limits for one day, what would you do? Have sex. The correct answer would be spend the day with my fiance. And that's the answer that's not going to get me killed. So that's the answer I'm officially giving, but the answer I am not giving whatsoever is probably catch up on some movies I haven't been able to see yet. Like, I'd love to catch up on some of my Kino Lorber titles that I have, or some of my Criterions. And since I don't have any limits, I do that. But also spend time with my fiance, because that's the answer that's not going to get me in trouble. How surprised are you it's been 11 years? I'm shocked. I'm stunned. Oh, like I really am shocked. Like, it doesn't seem like it's been 11 years. It feels like I've been doing this for 2 years maybe, but it really has been, so I'm very surprised. If you could go back in time, would you do anything differently, or are you happy with how things wound up? I used to say, yeah, I would go back and fix my past mistakes, but then I wouldn't be who I am today. I'd be a completely different person, because the trials and tribulations you go through when you're young what make you who you are today. This was really put in perspective for me when I was in Colorado for Best 8 Days back in 2019. The whole sermon series there was about how the fire forges you into who you're supposed to be. And God used that and has used my past mistakes to make me into the person I am now, and make me into the person who's going to marry Hope one day. So if I changed anything about myself in the past, I wouldn't be who I am right now. And I'm pretty happy with who I am right now. So no, I don't think I'd go back and change anything, because there's no reason to. Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Sodor Pro, for your questions. Now we have Amity Blight and SP4449 fan. I'm just going to call you Amity. She says, I think it's a she, maybe it's a he. He says, opinions on My Life as a Teenage Robot, Hi Puffy, Amiyumi, Avatar, both Last Airbender and Legend of Korra, Danny Phantom, Super Mario Brothers movie, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Kim Possible, and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Chowder. Good lord, that's a lot of stuff there, Amity. My Life as a Teenage Robot, I've never seen. I am interested in it, though. It's on my Paramount Plus watch list. Hi Puffy Amiyumi, I don't know what that is. It sounds like anime. Avatar, The Last Airbender is one of the best animated series of all time. The Legend of Korra is a lackluster follow-up. The Danny Phantom, it's a good show. I've seen it all. I enjoyed it for what it was. Super Mario Brothers movie and Across the Spider-Verse we've already talked about. The Ninja Turtles, I love those guys. They are so fun. Kim Possible, that's a good show. I didn't see the whole thing, though. The movie was pretty fun. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, never seen it. Chowder, I saw like one episode when I was a kid. I don't remember a lot about it. What year were you born in? I was born in 1999. Favorite pet? That's like choosing one of my kids. I like dogs and I like cats. I have a dog. Her name is Leia. I have a cat. His name is Lando. I could not tell you which one of them are my favorites because I love them both so dearly. So thank you, Amity, for your questions. All right, our next set of questions. I promise we're almost done here. I promise, guys. Appreciate you if you've stuck around this far into the video. You're a real one. Our next set of questions come from Ivan Cross. He says, how is Milk Tanker Media doing? Will he return back to his series and his channel? I don't know Milk Tanker Media. I've never met him. My group of friends actually met him last year at, I can't remember where it was. Was it Chicago, maybe? I was in St. Louis for that meetup, so I didn't get a chance to meet him. So I have no idea how he's doing. His other question is your thoughts on the Super Mario Brothers movie. I've already answered that, so thank you, Ivan, for your questions. We have Caleb Robbins, who asks a grand total of 9 questions here. If you were to own a Thomas prop, what would it be and why? Come on. Come on. The original Oliver prop. What would you say is the worst movie you've ever seen? I gotta say, Escape Plan 2 was pretty bad. Not good at all. Would I say that's the worst one, though? No, I would say actually the worst film I've ever seen is this movie called The Velocipaster. Have you ever seen that? It's this movie that my friend showed me. We had a little mini movie night at his place with a couple other friends. It's god-awful, but oh my gosh, it is so funny. The worst thing I've ever seen. But I could not stop laughing. So, Isaac, if you watch this video, you made me watch that piece of shit, and I'll never forgive you. Favorite Disney film of all time? Can I say The Rock? Because it's technically Touchstone. Or I guess Hollywood Pictures. No, I can't say that. Winnie the Pooh is always my favorite animated film from them, so I'd probably say that. It's one of the most nostalgic for me. What celebrities have you met? I've actually never met a true, like, Hollywood celebrity. Never gone to any, like, signings or anything on my autographs or bought secondhand. I have met some local celebrities, though. This lead singer of the group, The Crashers, Hope and I have met after one of their concerts. Even got this picture. Look at that. What's he doing with his hand there? I don't know. We've also met the comedian Alex Raimondo, who is was doing a stand-up set at a Crashers concert. Funny enough, and he was nice enough to take a picture with us. But I've never met like a true Hollywood celebrity. Like I've never met Bob Odenkirk or something. That'd be pretty cool though. Hey Bob, hit me up. Have you ever attended a movie premiere? No, I have not. Never been to an official premiere or anything. I did see X-Men Apocalypse on preview night. I think that's the only one I've seen on preview night with a buddy of mine. But I've never actually been to like the world premiere, red carpet premiere, anything like that. Have you seen Austin Anthony after meeting him at Entertainment 2021? Yes, if you go and watch the vlog series What I Was Doing While I Was Dead 5, or was it 4? It's the one from last year in 2022. I have met Austin for a second time. He came to Entertainment again, and we met up there. Favorite John Hughes film? Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. What do you think is the current status of the Toby model that was stolen from Drayton Manor? Dude, I have no idea where that thing is. It could be in a dumpster for all we know. If you ever saw Turtles and Thomas, again, what would you say to him? Obviously a loaded question because of what happened with Turtles and his exit from the community, his forced exit. I think if I ever saw him again and I ever had the chance to even speak to him again, I'd say, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Talking to these people like that. What were you thinking, acting like you were just so important and acting like you were never going to get caught for doing some of the stuff that you did? I mean, what were you thinking? That's what I would have to say to him. But thank you, Caleb, for your questions. We have a bunch of one-offs here. First one comes from Alex Hall. What is your favorite film/television series? I've already answered the first one. I like The Avengers. That one's probably my favorite. And then I'd say probably my favorite TV show would have to be Seinfeld. What was your first Thomas Wynn Railway set? Figure 8 set with the conductor shed. That came with the Thomas, a boxcar, and a Soda Line caboose. That one was my first. And how did you first discover YouTube? I I think I was on like the internet one day and I probably clicked a link or something. Honestly, I can't really tell you how I first discovered YouTube because it was so long ago. Enrique Jr. Gomez says, are you a SpongeBob fan? I am a SpongeBob fan. Thank you for asking. The Sony Wonder and Happy Madison Fan Productions says, I don't know if someone has asked you this before, but what are your thoughts on Sesame Street, The Muppets, Jim Henson stuff in general? I watched Elmo a lot when I was a kid. I don't think I mentioned that earlier with the shows I watched as a kid question, but I watched Elmo too. I didn't really watch Sesame Street. I just watched the Elmo videos that I had. But I liked it. I have a couple Sesame Street DVDs for my kids one day because they'll be growing up on that. Love the Muppets. The Muppets never fail to make me laugh. That first Muppet movie is hilarious. Love that thing to death. And then the one from 2011 is great too. Jim Henson, I think, was an astounding creative genius, and he was taken from us far too soon. All right, we have our last 3 questions here, all right? Thank God, right? This video's gone on long enough. We have Movies and Train Studios, who says, what's a TV show or movie series that you think would make the world better if they didn't exist? When I first read this question, I was kind of perplexed. I was like, would it make the world better if a movie or TV show didn't exist? What movie or TV show caused such an upright moral panic that it would be just better if they weren't here? The Interview caused a stir with North Korea back in 2014, but I don't think that really affected international relations too much. I don't think any movie or TV show should be just completely erased from existence. I think that's wrong. Gumrobber says, when will you come back to my home city, St. Louis, for a meet and greet? I'm going to answer this in 2 parts here. When am I coming back to St. Louis? I don't know. I would like to come back sooner rather than later. And as far as a meet and greet goes, never really thought about having one of those. Usually when I'm on vacation, I want to enjoy my vacation. Not like meeting a whole bunch of you guys would ruin my vacation or anything, but I don't want to have to worry about that. Like, I just want to go and have a good time. But as far as a meet and greet goes, I'd be down for it. I don't really know when, but that's probably not the answer you were hoping for, Gumrobber. But at some point, we'll be back in St. Louis. And ScoobyFan2000, aka Ewan Lundy's second channel, why do you guys have such long usernames, says, have you gotten Here Comes the Steam Team DVD from Thomas and Friends? Okay, so originally I answered yes to this question because I thought the commenter was talking about this DVD set, but upon further investigation, it is not this DVD set, so I'm changing my answer right now to no. All right, everyone. Well, that wraps up the Q&A answers video for my 2023 11-year anniversary here on YouTube. I said this earlier, but I want to thank everyone again for sticking around for this entire video. This is a long one, and it will probably be a bitch to edit, so stick with me if this video comes out a little later than I anticipated it to. I want to just go ahead and say how eternally grateful I am to you guys for watching my content, for subscribing, for liking, for commenting, for doing everything that you guys do to support my stuff throughout these last 11 years. It's amazing that I've been here for that long, but as I answered earlier in a previous question, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Please keep an eye out for the next installment of Home Media Reviews. I don't know when this is going to be uploaded, so I can't say what the video is going to be, but it will be on an action movie. Probably. Thank you once again for watching. Thank you to everyone who left a question for me. I hope that you all are satisfied with my answers. I will see you all in the next video. Good night, everybody.